Ever since we were little children, most marketing messages that we hear have been trying to train us to believe that comfort is the ultimate goal of our life. In today's video, I want to shed a little bit of light on how that can be a trap that holds us back.
They call me crazy cause I'm facing all my giants. They try to scare me into thinking I can fight it. They tell me I should never even think of trying. But that's just me, I'm gonna live out in defiance.
You see, most commercials, most Instagram ads when we're flipping through end up showing us some kind of appealing signal that makes us want to strive for that product, actually makes us just want to buy that product. You know, you buy this pillow, you can sleep better. You buy these supplement pills. They'll make you slimmer and therefore you'll get more girls and therefore you'll get more sex and then you'll be happy. You know, you go to this college, then you'll be able to get a good job. Then you'll be able to get a lot of money. And if you have a lot of money, then you'll be able to buy all the stuff you want and then you'll be happy. Those things are just straight up not true. In my many years of coaching people and struggling through life, I've shared about all of my failings in previous videos and things like that. I've met hundreds and hundreds of people. I've been involved with networking clubs. I've been involved with all different kinds of networking groups where I get to meet people from different walks of life. Everybody's striving to get their best life. You know, everybody's trying to get more money. Everybody's trying to get stronger or thinner. Everybody's trying to get more. I've met dozens of people who kind of get to that point where it's like, yeah, I'm doing pretty well for myself, you know, and then they start to take it easy. They start to chill. They start to relax a little bit too much. Then they start getting overweight. Then they stop trying hard at work or in their business. And soon enough, we start to see things like depression. They're not as happy anymore. Their relationships with their family members aren't doing as well. I'm a car guy. I've always wanted crazy supercars and things like that. I'm always working out at the gym. You know, what's wrong with that? I think the problem comes when we start to put our hope in that. I've met too many people who are usually a little bit older than me. Not many people can reach this level in their 20s or 30s, but I meet too many people where they're like, I've achieved it. I've finally gotten $5 million. My life is complete. And then actually I talk to them kind of 2 or 3 years, but even sometimes months later, where they're just kind of this actually isn't very interesting or fun. You see, humans are designed to grow and to challenge and to push forward and to make progress, and we feel joy and satisfaction when we're doing those things. I think I learned from a young age that once you kind of get too much and there isn't any more challenge, things cease to be fun. I learned that through various different types of video games growing up. I used to play this game called Gran Turismo, basically a racing game for PlayStation. First one came out on PlayStation and they're still making them today. Professional racing game. One of the really fun my favorite part of it, which I realized after playing through numerous versions of the game, is you start out, you got this janky beater car with 80 horsepower, and everybody else in the race has the same kinds of cars. And you gotta try so hard, and you're barely eking out victory after trying a few different times, making a few different attempts, you know, and you'll it'll be yeah, you got first place, you get $100. And then, you know, you do that a couple times and then you can finally get new tires. And then after you get new tires, it starts to get easier because you're faster now. And then you can start getting more parts and more power, better handling and things like that. And soon enough, you're getting into different leagues. You're getting faster cars. And eventually you're getting supercars. And then you're getting F1 cars, which basically defy gravity. Soon enough, you just have this insane bankroll. You can buy anything. As soon as you buy a car, you're fixing it up with max upgrades, and it ends up not even really being fun anymore. I started to realize that, and then later on, once I started working in my own life, I started to realize that too. Part of the way we are built is to always be pushing forward into challenges. One of the things I've seen through these different people around me, and also through my own experiences, I mean, the video games is trivial, but I've also experienced this in my own life, is just like, we're designed to be constantly growing and to be constantly pushing and to be improving little by little. I think it's easy to get into the mode of like, once I reach this goal, once I achieve this thing, I'll be happy and I'll be set for life, and then I can just chill, you know what I mean? But I've just seen it so many times where that's not the case. And in fact, if you look at statistics for people who retire, like the rate of depression and even death for people right after retirement is like really crazy. Because they lose that camaraderie, they lose that sense of purpose, they lose that sense of progress that humans are built with, you know? And once that sense is gone, it's kind of like, I have no more purpose for living, you know? And so my challenge for you today, whether you're like a young person trying to start up a new side gig or trying to figure out what to do once the world has finished resetting, going through this pandemic, you know, is to never forget that we need to keep pushing forward. We need to, you know, relaxing, taking a breather, taking a day off is like super duper important. And I want to share about that in another video, but because I've forgotten to take rest and totally paid the price for it. But I think for us in this video, I want to challenge you not to get too complacent. I want you to think about it like a muddy hill. Imagine you're like trudging up this muddy hill in a storm and the wind's coming against you and it's just muddy. You stop to catch your breath and you're just kind of like sinking back down the hill because it's like liquidy mud. Life is like that. The way we work is like that. You stop to take a breath, or you know, go cruise on the beach for like a few months. You're gonna start forgetting. In my case, I'm gonna start forgetting how to speak Japanese if I go back to LA for too long. I'm gonna stop forgetting how to keep good form and keep pushing harder when I'm going to the gym if I stop for too long. And it's like that with starting a business. It's like that with learning a new skill, learning a new language, when you're going through college. Life is like a muddy hill. And if you keep going, if you keep pushing up, you're gonna get better and you're gonna get stronger. We can apply the same logic to working out at the gym. You know, you go to the gym, you have a disciplined regimen, you're working out kind of like 3, 4, 5 times a week, lifting weights. And soon, like for me, I bench press, I don't know, like 180. When I first started, after doing nothing for years, even bench pressing 100 was hard. But now bench pressing 100 is like easy. And if I just continued to bench 100, I would stop growing muscle and I wouldn't really move forward. On the same token, like right now, I can't go to the gym. If I just stopped going to the gym for the next year, probably 100 would be hard again, you know? But on the flip side, if I keep going up, like, oh, this week I got to 110, next week I'm gonna go 120, and then 130, 140, 150, 160. And I still have goals of getting up to like 200, 250 and things like that. You know, I wanna be like The Rock, you know what I'm saying? And so we gotta keep pushing forward. Apply that same logic to your brain and the way you learn skills. When I live in Japan right now, there are legit days where I cannot speak Japanese and I can't communicate with anybody. My wife will be like, "Ohayou gozaimasu," and I'm just like, "Good morning," you know, and it just doesn't work. But that's especially bad after I go back home to the US, after I go to LA for like a month. I come back here and I'm just like super rusty. I can't remember anything and I'm just like, "Ohayou gozaimasu," you know, and it just doesn't really flow. So we got to keep pushing forward. The first time I started speaking in public was in high school. I had this US history class where a teacher made us do live presentations every week. She like never taught for some reason. She would just kind of stand in the corner and be like, "Hey, you're gonna teach section 1, you're gonna teach section 2, you're gonna teach section 3," and we had to go up and do presentations. Basically, we were responsible for teaching the rest of the class. And I hated it. I hated speaking in public. I didn't even really understand the material. I wasn't passionate about it or interested in it. And I didn't understand how it connected to like my everyday life or even my future. So I didn't do a good job at it and it sucked. Later on, at my church youth group, I started to speak in front of like 20, 30, 40 people, and then later on it was like 80, 90, 100 people. And a few years later, sometimes I'm speaking in front of like 300, 400, 500 people. And it's scary, but actually teaching in front of my US history class was scarier, I think. I've started to develop an enjoyment for it, but I've also started to embrace the whole process of like, oh man, I have this speaking engagement coming up. It's scary, I'm nervous, I don't know what to do. Okay, I'm figuring out what to do. Okay, I'm making progress towards it. And then that day you wake up and you're kind of like, oh man, I gotta speak in front of 500 people today at my buddy's wedding or something like that. And then you do it. And when it's done, you feel so relieved and so satisfied and so joyful. Then it's kind of like, yeah, I'm glad I did that. I learned a lot. It was difficult. I struggled through it, but I'm glad I did it, and I learned a lot doing it too. So my challenge for you today is to learn how to embrace challenge. I've talked about in previous videos about embracing failure and not fearing that. And I think that's a skill that we need to learn how to master in order to push forward, growing your small business or starting your new side gig or getting through college or adjusting to your new job or things like that. If this video brought you any value, if it was encouraging or challenging or thought-provoking in any way, share with me a little bit down below. I want to hear your feedback. Please also leave a like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon if you want to keep learning more. Let's keep in touch. Thank you very much, guys.